Hey everyone, welcome to the very first Lite switch. Basically, the idea here is I try and keep Switchcraft down to, well, my goal is to have it to be 20 minutes, but it's been ballooning and getting longer and longer and longer. So my idea is that I would take some of the extra stories that are not going to go into the main show, but I still want to talk about, and do them in smaller segments. And a listener gave me the idea to call them light switches because, you know, a smaller piece of switchcraft. But anyway, now you got the idea. This light switch is all about the 3DS. I'm a big fan of the 3DS. In fact, I would say that that platform, the 3S and the 3DS and the DS respectively, has got to be the best investment that you can make as a gamer into like just the library that is available to you. There are so many games on that platform and it is so damn good. Now, that being said, for the first 2 years of the Nintendo Switch's life, I was constantly, well, maybe not constantly, but I certainly said more than once to call on Nintendo to stop supporting the 3DS. And Nintendo ignored me because they don't know who I am. And they just kept supporting the 3DS. And here we are at E3 2019 is now over. And there was not a single mention of the 3DS. And, you know, some people might think that that means the 3DS is dead, but I don't think that's true. Is Nintendo going to keep making games for it? That remains to be seen. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. However, Nintendo is going to keep making the hardware, and that is very, very smart. Keeping the factories running, producing hardware for the 3DS makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. First off, it doesn't really cost Nintendo anything. That's pure profit. When they sell a 3DS system, they make money. When it comes to spending money on developing software for the 3DS, now I think that that would be a mistake. Nintendo has the Switch in a lot of houses. There's a lot of Switch consoles out there, and it is on track to be Nintendo's best console ever. I mean, it is selling at record-breaking paces, and it's on track with the Wii. It's insane how well the Nintendo Switch is doing, and it's only poised to do better. In fact, I believe I read someplace today, and I could be wrong about this, but I think I remember reading today that Nintendo, there's like an market analyst says that oh, it was the NPD Group. NPD Group says that Nintendo is poised to possibly be the number one performing not platform publisher this year if they keep going at their current rate, and especially with the second half of the year, how many games they have coming out. Anyway, taking any development away from the Switch, I think, is a bad idea. But there's just so many 2DS games and 3DS games out there that making a cheap system as an entry point for younger gamers, and don't at me saying, well, Bill, I'm a grown up and I play on the 3DS. That's fine. So do I. Well, I did. I don't so much anymore, but I did a lot. It's a fantastic system. It's got some really, really amazing games on there. And it also has very unique games that you can't play anywhere else because of either the 3D or the touchscreen. And those things just aren't on any other platform. So I think that making the 3DS and continuing to make it makes a lot of sense. And I'm not the only one. Doug Bowser, so for those of you who may not know, he just took over from Mr. Reggie, My Body Is Ready Fils-Aimé, and he recently retired. Doug Bowser took over. In fact, at E3, they had this cool moment where they had, you know, like Bowser on stage, or not on stage, but in the video, wearing a tie And then Doug Bowser comes on and is like, it's not the right Bowser, buddy. You got to go. And Bowser walks away looking all sad. And he was about to snap too. Not sure if that was more like a Koizumi snap or a Thanos snap. Only we'll never know, thank goodness, because Bowser's the bad guy. But anyway, this comes to us from Digital Trends, and it says here that the Nintendo 3DS will live on even if it didn't get mentioned at E3 this year. Let me close that. Here's the quote from Doug Bowser. He said, the focus at E3 was on the Nintendo Switch, but that doesn't mean Nintendo is pulling the plug on the handheld console. It continues to do quite well. And where did it go? As long as there is consumer demand, the company will continue supporting the device. Retailers also continue to sell the hardware and the software for the 3DS system. This is because it's such a good entry point for gamers, young gamers. You can get a 3DS, although it's not really a 3DS. You can get like the wedge-shaped 2DS, which is the one where there's no hinge, and it's kind of like wedge-shaped, and you don't hold it at the bottom. You kind of hold it up near the top, which I haven't. I don't have one of those, but I always thought it looked really comfortable to hold. I haven't held one, but anyway, there's a couple reasons why that is such a good device for young kids. First off, no moving parts, no parts that come off. The Nintendo Switch has parts that come off. That's a bad idea for young kids. But no moving parts, no parts that come off. It sells, excuse me, I'm sorry. It sells for $79, and it usually comes with a game. I think it's Mario Kart 7. It's a really good way to get young kids to start playing Nintendo games, and then when they get older, they can say, "Mom, Dad, I want a Switch." Or at some point down the road, maybe they'll ask for whatever the next Switch thing is. We don't know if they're going to keep making games for it, but its collection it's just insane. If you were to ask me, Bill, what should I buy for my 3DS? I would say, well, you're about to be in some big trouble, because there's amazing games. Games like Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, which is this ridiculously good top-down Zelda game. Super Mario 3D Land is also really, really good. The Fire Emblem games that are on there, I personally prefer Fire Emblem Awakening. I have not played this, but I've heard very good things about Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of Metroid 2, which was on the Game Boy. Bravely Default is this return to old school RPG turn-based roots with a lot of modern things that improve upon it. If you don't have a Switch or a PC or an Xbox or a PS4 and you want to play Shovel Knight, that's on there as well. Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D are two absolutely amazing games that you can get on the 3DS. You can get Mario Golf World Tour, and then of course all of the Pokemon games like Pokemon XY, Pokemon Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, and then I can't remember which Pokemon games were on the 2DS, but you have access to those too. Like, I'm listing off a bunch of 3DS games. I haven't even touched the 2DS games. Oh, and since Animal Crossing New Horizons is coming out next March, Animal Crossing New Leaf, that's another game that you might want to check out. There's just so many fantastic games on the 3DS or 2DS that I highly recommend that if you don't have one, you are missing out on some incredible fun gameplay. In fact, just talking about this has kind of got me thinking about maybe picking up Metroid Samus Returns. I never picked it up, not because I didn't want to play it, but because I didn't want to play it on my 3DS. As a Twitch streamer and content creator, I want to be able to take my games and share them as I play games online, stream them. and I can't do that from my 3DS. But oh man, I'm thinking about it, and the 3DS is such a great system. And right now mine's collecting dust, and that is a shame. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to take my 3DS, I'm going to keep it in my backpack a little more often, and take it out and play it every once in a while, because most of the time my Switch stays at home. I don't usually take it with me when I go places. But Nintendo, I'm glad that they didn't listen to me, and I'm glad that they're still making the 3DS. But I'm also glad that the vast majority of their software development is being focused on the Nintendo Switch, because the library of the 3DS is just so huge, so absolutely massive, that there's really no need for them to make more games for that system. There's just too much to play already. Before we get out of here and finish up this light switch, I just want to apologize for the noise. It's beautiful out today, absolutely beautiful out today, and I have my window open, and every once in a while a loud car goes by, and for that I apologize. I wanted the fresh air in here. So anyway, that's our very first light switch. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for listening, and if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.